Coach, obviously great opportunity here in the NCAA tournament. What does this mean to be back in the NCAA tournament?
Well, it's a credit to our team and the effort they put in this year. I mean, we started in August. It's been a long season and a lot of new people and new roles. And, we're at the end of the year accomplishing one of our goals, so that's a real good feeling.
Obviously a tough test here in Ashland, a team you saw early in the year and a team that's got better as the years went on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a regional tournament, right? So it is a national tournament, but it's regional format. So every matchup in our region is a rematch from the regular season. So honestly, that kind of stinks, and I wish it was different. So if anybody from the NCAA with power is listening to this, give us a national tournament because we've played these teams and they're all rematches every single game. And that being said, Ashland, we played them in the playoffs so many times, in the GLIAC playoffs when they were in our league, and now in the national tournament. I mean, so we've matched up with them in a lot of big games. Really, the game against them earlier in the year was it was just early. So early matchups are different than late season. They weren't totally healthy. We were younger. We've both changed so much. So I expect it to be a great game, and I do like competing against John and his teams. I think they do it the right way, and that makes it a lot of fun to compete. And we're looking forward to it for sure.
Obviously, a seventh trip here in the last 8 or 9 years for the Bulldogs, 16th overall in school history. What does it mean to be able to kind of continue that tradition and get back to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, what a tradition here. I mean, decades and decades of excellence and postseason appearances and success. So honestly, it's our obligation to try to continue it. I mean, that's our goal here, and that's our job. That's why we've been hired and brought in here as scholarship players. At the same time, you can work all year, do all the right things, and maybe you're injured, or maybe you just don't quite get it done because there's a lot of other good teams, and so this is special. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not guaranteed if you do the right things or work hard that you're going to get here. So, but we're happy to continue the tradition, put another year on the banner for tournament appearances, and see if we can make a run.
Coach, just one question for me. Just talk about, obviously you've, it's touching up on what he says, 7 out of the last 8 years. Just talk about this very team right here. What makes this team very unique maybe compared to other teams? And I'm sure you're awfully proud of all the work that they have put in to get to this point and hopefully bring a national championship.
Yeah, that's just kind of how each year works. Each team is very unique. They just take on their own personality and they become their own animal. So you got to adjust every year to how the team is. And specifically about this year's team, I just think the storyline is that guys are in brand new roles. I mean, some guys hardly played last year are playing. Some guys that played at different schools are in our lineup right now. Some guys that came off the bench are starting. And so on and so forth. Some guys that were starting are coming off the bench, and guys playing new positions, multiple positions, asked to do different things on the floor. So just that adjustment. Next year, for instance, we'll bring back a lot of people, and there'll be guys in similar roles, or maybe have to take on a lesser role because we find a way to get better. But this year, everybody had to take on a bigger role, and that was a lot to deal with, and really just proud of them for that and for taking it on and giving everything they have and ending up in the national tournament. Pretty impressive.
How much does playing in the GLIAC kind of prepare you for this tournament? Like you said, this is regional. It's a lot of teams you see before, but the competitiveness of the league, how does that kind of help you?
Well, when you get into the regional, there is no easy game. Okay, so anybody can win or lose, but the GLIAC does prepare you, and we have 3 teams in this year, and deservingly so. I think there's teams in our region that didn't get in that deserve to be in. And again, I'm talking about the regional format where maybe our region is stacked full of teams. Maybe we should get 14 in, and that's kind of how it works in Division I. But it's equal representation from the regions in the United States in Division II. So there's just a lot of teams sitting at home that could win games in the national tournament too. That said, the GLIAC, the grind of the GLIAC prepares you. So all 3 of our GLIAC teams are ready to win games in this regional. And I believe the other conferences are too, because nobody is represented by bad teams.
Do you pay any mind at all to seeding or anything? To talk about playing the underdog role at all? Or is it basically any of the 1 through 8 can kind of come out of this weekend as the regional champ?
I mean, the days of selling underdog are over, okay? So that's not what we do here at Ferris. It's just lying. You know, the target's on our back, and that's what we live with. So that is what it is. And as far as seeding, no, you don't pay attention to seeding. The only thing is the number 1 seed has an advantage because they host, right? So if you're not the 1 seed, it really doesn't matter. Everything else, you know, it's pretty much even. You just play who they match you up against, and I mean, maybe if you're thinking about not meeting the 1 seed until the finals, maybe being on the opposite side of the bracket is from them. But again, 1 seeds do get upset, but it is an advantage. You know, when we hosted the regional here, so when the year we won it, well, that was a big advantage, right? So that's another unique thing about the 8 regions. You know, the number 1 seed is the host. After that, the seeds, you know, I don't think they really matter.
Is there any aspect of the game that you're really stressing with the guys kind of going into this weekend that you think is going to be a key?
I mean, no, not really. You know, specific to Ashland, yes. I mean, just they're talented players in the system that they try to run. Obviously, we're bringing that scout back out and you know, trying to figure out how they've changed, how they've grown. But when you get into the tournament, you really focus on being who you have become and not really changing anything, and you know, trying to keep the same routines, the same practice schedules, the same. You know, the same thing you've been doing all year to get here. So you don't want to all of a sudden change, and that's kind of the approach that we've had.
Coach, final question here. Obviously, back in 2020, you were going to Indianapolis, and the trip got canceled about an hour away. What does it feel like going back to Indianapolis and hoping the bus gets there this time?
Yeah, you know what? I've had some thoughts about just, you know, loading all those guys back up and taking them on this trip. You know, because what a moment, and you know. To turn around, you know, 45 minutes away, you know, bringing a team there to that regional that hadn't lost 2 games in a row all year. You know, I think 27-6, something like that, 27-5, and then to have to go into the back of the bus and tell those seniors, the all-time winningest seniors in the history of the school, we need 1 more game to beat. You know, they tied it, and to tell them that we were turning around and their careers were over was, I mean, difficult. And then the 2 years to come after that, with everything we've dealt with in athletics, difficult. And then to get back, it's pretty cool, and we're looking forward to it. Obviously, Indianapolis is a great place to host a tournament. Lots of tournaments held there, and regionals, and we're glad to go there, and Indianapolis deserves it.
Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck.
All right, thanks, guys.